Is this Maximum Series Spider-Man the greatest Spider-Man action figure that Hasbro has ever made? Well, let's find out. Now, this figure comes with a pretty hefty price tag for a single action figure of between $50 to $60. It does come with a bunch of accessories, but it really is supposed to be a deluxe figure. So whether or not it's worth the $50 to $60, that's what we're going to find out today. Alright, let's take a look at this guy. He's obviously got Peter Parker head, a different Spider-Man head in here. Packaging is cool. There's a lot of accessories just from the outside. You see the way there's like a varnish and then a matte varnish. I love that effect. You see it here too on the side of the box. So they're really going for that premium look, so the packaging has a special kind of feel to it. Alright, let's get to opening this bad boy up. Okay, pretty cool so far. There's definitely 2 layers of accessories here, so let's split this out. So you got this layer. Oh, this looks like a stand. That's kind of cool. Got some hands. And then you got like the classic web shooter, so I guess if you want to put Peter Parker head on, we can have him like half suit on kind of thing. And then we got all of this stuff. You get a really good look. Spider sense. There's some cool web accessories here for sure. Oh, these are cool. I didn't notice these before. They're shooting the webs out of the spider hands. That's pretty cool. Okay. Spider-Man figure. You know, I think he's actually an inch taller than the Marvel Legends figures. I'm gonna grab one and do a comparison. Yeah. This range of motion on the arm is pretty high. Typically they don't get up that high. Not all the figures do. I mean, that's pretty cool. I love the tight joints. So I'm just taking a look at the articulation now. I always check with Spider-Man's head to see if he can do that. So you can do the web crawling pose. So that's cool because all the Mafex figures have that kind of posability. You know, we've got, there's quite a bit here in the flex, in the torso. Do some serious yoga poses. That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't have a lot of figures that can do that, so that's pretty cool. So there's some good stuff here. There's an extra, no, I just see one, the mid thigh. It's just a little high, and then the mid calf, and then we probably have this standard sort of rocker feet here that go. Oh, does it go side by side? It's got to. Yeah. So we've got full articulation on the ankle. I don't see a ton going on here that's new on the legs or really even the arms. Except for the shoulder. I feel like the shoulder has a much higher, there's an ability to get his arms much higher than a typical Marvel Legends figure. It looks like that's about it. Still pretty good. Definitely a lot of motion in the torso and the midsection, which is, you know, usually where you don't get a lot of motion, or, you know, that's where these figures can get pretty rigid, so it's pretty cool. Definitely a lot going on in the shoulder. You know, butterfly from the front and the back. Yeah, it's a lot. You know, similar to the Hulk, it's hard to get your sort of hands together in action figures. So there's definitely more sort of motion there in that guy. and he's giving himself a fist bump. Yeah. So this guy's cool. He's definitely he's got some good posability here for sure. There's some nice joints that are different than the Marvel Legend joints, which is good to see because that's what we want for the extra money, right? So okay, that's a good sign. Good sign. I like that. Let's take a look at some of these accessories. I'm especially intrigued by this one. And you know, when I open a box, I don't do any research. I don't know anything about this figure. I want to come in cold. I like being surprised. So I don't even know where this goes. So we're gonna find out though. We're gonna find out what this is. It looks like a I don't know, some kind of. It's obviously a web thing, but yeah. Okay, and then this is pretty neat. I'm assuming this will go inside one of the hands. I've got some older figures that have like big web pieces like this from Toy Biz, and I really like those. I really like those types of pieces, so that's cool. We go to the alternate head, which I'm a little confused by here. There's a little bit of a slight variation in the thickness of the black around his eyes. Boy, I mean, it's weird to see that to be a head variation. I feel like it's pretty subtle. Yeah. So, I mean, it's still cool to have a different head, but I don't know about that. Okay. Maybe that's the... Oh, wait, I know why. Again, I don't do any of this research. So I think that is because his spider sense is supposed to be more activated when his eyes are like more like enhanced. So you stick this thing on there, and even though he looks like he might be the Statue of Liberty, it's supposed to be his like spider sense. I mean, I think this is still fun. It's still fun. I like the spider sense crown thing. We'll stick that on him later. Okay. And then we got Peter Parker's head. Take a look at this guy. Get a good focus on him. I mean, it's not bad. It's obviously comic inspired. It's no movie. This is not Tom Holland or anyone else. He's just kind of dorky Peter. I don't know. The hair is interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's Peter Parker. So, that's cool. And, oh, it's hard to see some of these extra accessories because they blend in with the transparency. Look at oh yeah, this is like a web, like blob that he would shoot to knock somebody, or it's like a web missile. It's pretty cool. I'm not sure. I see a little hole here, so I'm not sure how that goes together. Maybe it goes at the end of one of these long things. Probably. Okay. I'm not going to open these hands up, I'm going to be honest. I just knowing the way the hands go, well, maybe I will, I don't know. This is really cool. This is a web shooting hand. I love these. That's really cool. This one too, another really cool one. That's nice. I love that, actually, that they included those. That's different, you know. So okay, so we're getting some good stuff here. This is no, you know, Hasbro, I think, was very smart about how they created this figure. All right, so these are way more loose than I thought they would be. Usually they got like a wire in them and stuff, but these are actually kind of cool. They almost feel like the real thing. They're very webby feeling, super flexible. That surprises me, the material that this is. I just opened another Spider-Man figure that had a much different approach to the webs. Yeah, it's very, like I said, it almost feels like the real thing. Oh my god, it is! But there's got to be a way. I don't know how this stuff goes together. I feel like there's, like, this piece could go into here or something. Just, I don't know how that works. Like, this should be, like, coming out this way. I don't know. Again, I go into this stuff cold for a reason. Yeah, it definitely goes in there. Not sure how that works, though. I'm sure I did something wrong. Maybe it's supposed to, like, spin around. Sometimes you do stuff like that. Would be cool. Like, it could be, like, spun around this, like that. That looks like something that would happen with Spider-Man's web. Totally. That's cool. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do. Okay. So I'm going to leave these hands in here for now just because there's so many loose parts, but you can imagine that. And then I have these other hands. So you've got the spider crawl hands here. And what looks like this is a stand for Spider-Man. But I'm not even sure. Does he have a thing in the back? What is this? Okay, I'm going to put this together. It's definitely a stand of some kind. Where does it go? What's this thing? It's so weird. Okay, got some mysteries here. This is when I like to refer to the packaging. And there are no answers. Okay. Well, like I said, I like to go into this cold, so we're in this together. I will figure this out. Okay. Couple mysteries here still. What's up with this? Oh, is it like a spider shield? Oh my god. Is this? It's like a spider shield. He's like Captain America now. That one I didn't see coming. I actually think that's kind of funny. Didn't know. I like that though. Didn't see that one coming. That's pretty fun. I like that. I'm sure it happened in the comics somewhere in the 70 years of Spider-Man. Okay. I'm going to pull these guys out. So, I'm assuming that when I swap these hands out... Is it a hand swap or is it a whole forearm swap? Now I must know. It's got to be a forearm swap. Wow. Check that out. Swappable forearms. So, like, if you get the Peter Parker head on there, it's kind of like Peter with his mask off. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. It's not how I would display him because I love classic Spider-Man. He's about a ½ inch taller than a standard Marvel Legends figure. Well, this one I ended up having to look up and actually goes into this web blob, so you have a freestanding web blast. It's kind of weird. Alright, so I'm messing around a lot with the articulation on this Spider-Man, and I get him to really compress all the way down, which is pretty amazing. Compare him a little bit to the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, and there really isn't much comparison as far as that torso movement and the drop hip, which actually really helps with that extra level of flexibility.
Spider-Man figures have pretty much always led the innovation in the articulation, and this is a little bit of an example of the evolution of the Spider-Man figure. The price in action figures have absolutely skyrocketed over the last year, let alone the last 20, but it's hard to believe that we're 10 times the cost of an action figure 20 years ago. Okay, so here's my summary for this figure. I love the packaging. I think the articulation in the figure is excellent. The number of accessories is significant, but as with the Maximum Hulk, sometimes confusing and or problematic. The head swaps could have been better. I would have liked to see maybe a classic head. The forearm swaps was interesting, but the classic web shooter hands were too big for the figure. The web parts didn't integrate well with the figure at all. The web shooting hands were awesome. The price is pretty high, but prices are going up everywhere on toys. It's pretty insane. Is it the best Spider-Man Hasbro has ever made? I actually think so. A lot of the old Spider-Mans that are pretty awesome were made by Toy Biz. Is it worth it? For Spider-Man collectors, I'd say yes. It's the first in a new series. You kinda have to. For kids, I would say no, it's not enough for the price. So parents, I'd stay away from this one. Maybe get a cheaper Spider-Man for your boy or girl. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks so much for watching.
Spider-Man's work is never done.